Welcome back to the channel The Coin Empire. Today we are diving into a truly mind-blowing story that sounds almost unbelievable but could actually be sitting right in your pocket or hidden away in an old coin jar. And that is the mysterious and incredibly rare 1999 P5 cent coin that collectors and experts believe could be worth as much as $80 million due to a combination of unique minting errors, rare production anomalies, and fascinating possibilities that make it one of the most talked about coins in the world of numismatics. And if you are someone who enjoys treasure hunting or simply loves the idea of ordinary objects turning into extraordinary fortunes, then this story is going to keep you hooked from start to finish, because what makes this coin so valuable is not just one single mistake but rather a combination of factors that together create a perfect storm of rarity, demand, and mystery that drives collectors wild. Now, to understand why the 1999 P5 cent coin could reach such a staggering value, we first need to understand how coins are made and where things can go wrong, because every coin begins its life as a blank metal disc that is struck by dies inside a minting press. And when everything works perfectly, millions of identical coins are produced. But when something goes wrong, even in the slightest way, the result can be a coin that stands out dramatically from the rest. And these errors can range from small details like slight doubling in the text, to major issues like misaligned strikes or even the use of the wrong metal composition. And in the case of the 1999 P5 cent coin, some of the most exciting possibilities include double die errors, where the design appears duplicated due to a misalignment during the die creation process, off-center strikes where the design is not properly aligned with the edge of the coin, and die cracks or cuds where parts of the die break and leave raised marks on the coin's surface. But what truly sets apart the most valuable versions of this coin is the possibility of a transitional error, which occurs when the mint accidentally uses a design or composition intended for a different year or denomination. And this is where things get extremely interesting, because if a 1999 P nickel were struck on a planchet meant for another coin or with a composition that differs from the standard copper-nickel alloy, it would immediately become a one-of-a-kind piece, and collectors are willing to pay enormous sums for coins that are unique or nearly impossible to replicate. And another factor that adds to the potential value is the condition of the coin, because coins that are in near perfect or mint state condition are significantly more valuable than those that show wear and tear. And when you combine a rare error with an uncirculated condition, you create a coin that is not just rare but also visually stunning, making it highly desirable for high-end collectors and investors who see such pieces as both historical artifacts and financial assets. And speaking of history, the late 1990s were a time of high production for the United States Mint, which increases the chances that errors could slip through unnoticed due to the sheer volume of coins being produced. And while most errors are caught and destroyed before they ever leave the mint, a few manage to escape into circulation, where they can remain hidden for years or even decades before being discovered, often by ordinary people who have no idea that they are holding something incredibly valuable. And this element of surprise is what makes coin collecting so exciting, because anyone at any time could stumble upon a life-changing find. And when it comes to the 1999 P5 cent coin, there have been rumors and reports of extremely rare variations that exhibit unusual features such as missing mint marks, extreme doubling on the lettering, or even experimental finishes that were never intended for public release. And while not all of these claims have been fully verified, they add to the mystique and allure of the coin, driving interest and speculation among collectors and experts alike. And another important aspect to consider is the role of grading services, which authenticate and assign a condition rating to coins, because a coin that has been professionally graded and verified as authentic carries far more credibility and value in the marketplace. And if a 1999 P nickel with a significant error were to receive a top grade, it could easily attract attention from major collectors and auction houses, potentially leading to record-breaking sales. And the idea of an $80 million valuation may seem extreme at first glance, but in the world of rare collectibles it is not entirely impossible, because value is ultimately determined by what someone is willing to pay. And when a coin is truly unique and highly sought after, the sky is the limit. And this is especially true in cases where wealthy collectors compete to own the rarest pieces, driving prices to extraordinary levels. And beyond the technical aspects and market dynamics, there is also a psychological element at play because people are naturally drawn to stories of hidden treasure and unexpected fortune. And the idea that a simple coin could be worth millions taps into that sense of wonder and possibility that keeps people searching through their change and examining their collections more closely. And for those who are inspired by this story, it is worth taking a closer look at any 1999 p nickels you may have, because even if you do not find a $1 million error, you might still discover something interesting or valuable. And the key things to look for include unusual markings, differences in weight or color, and any signs of doubling or misalignment in the design. And if you think you have found something special, it is always a good idea to have it evaluated by a professional who can determine its authenticity and potential value. And while the chances of finding an $80 million coin are incredibly slim, they are not zero. And that is what makes this hobby so fascinating, because it combines history, science, art, and a touch of luck into one exciting pursuit. And as we wrap up this incredible story of the 1999 5 cent coin, remember that sometimes the most ordinary objects can hold extraordinary secrets. And whether you are a seasoned collector or just someone who enjoys a good mystery, there is always something new to discover in the world of coins. So keep your eyes open, check your pockets, and never underestimate the hidden value of the small things in life, because you never know when you might come across a piece of history that could change everything. Next, 1990 65-cent coin. Today we are uncovering another unbelievable story from the world of rare coins, a story that turns an ordinary everyday piece of pocket change into a jaw-dropping treasure worth an astonishing $77 million. And that is the mysterious and highly sought-after 1990 65-cent coin, a coin that at first glance looks completely normal but hides within it a series of rare errors, minting mistakes, and fascinating possibilities that have made collectors and treasure hunters obsess over its existence. And if you have ever ignored a nickel or tossed it aside without a second thought, this story might just change the way you look at coins forever, because what you are about to hear proves that even the smallest and most overlooked items can carry unimaginable value. Now, to understand why the 1990 65-cent coin has reached such an incredible valuation, we need to explore how coins are produced and how even the tiniest flaw can transform a common coin into a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. Every coin begins as a blank metal disc known as a planchet, which is then struck by specially engraved dies under intense pressure to imprint the design. And in a perfect system, every coin would come out identical. But in reality, the minting process involves complex machinery, human oversight, and massive production volumes. And this creates opportunities for rare and unusual errors to occur. And it is these errors that collectors hunt for, because they represent something unique, something that was never meant to exist, and something that can never be recreated exactly the same way again. And when it comes to the 1990 60 nickel, one of the most talked about possibilities is the presence of a double die error, where the design elements such as the date, lettering, or even the portrait appear duplicated or slightly shifted due to a misalignment during the die creation process. And this kind of error can sometimes be subtle, but in extreme cases it becomes highly visible and dramatically increases the coin's desirability. And another major factor that could contribute to the enormous value of this coin is an off-center strike, where the coin was not properly aligned within the press, resulting in a design that is partially missing or shifted toward one side. And while minor off-center errors are relatively common, a severe and well-preserved example from a specific year and mint mark like 1996D could be extraordinarily rare, especially if it retains a full date and mint mark, which are crucial for identification. And then there is the possibility of a wrong planchet error, one of the most exciting and valuable types of minting mistakes, where a coin is struck on a blank intended for a different denomination or even a different metal composition. Imagine a 1990 60 nickel struck on a planchet meant for a penny or a dime, or even a foreign coin. Such a piece would immediately stand out due to its unusual size, weight, or color, and collectors are known to pay massive sums for coins that defy expectations in this way, because they represent a breakdown in the minting system that is both rare and fascinating. And beyond that, there are die cracks, die breaks, and cuts which occur when the die itself becomes damaged or worn over time, leaving raised or irregular marks on the coin's surface. And while small die cracks might not add significant value, A large and dramatic cut that alters the appearance of the coin can make it highly collectible, especially if it is well documented and authenticated. And another intriguing possibility is the existence of a transitional error, where the mint may have accidentally used a die or planchet intended for a different year or design. And although the design of the nickel did not undergo a major change in 1996, the possibility of experimental or test strikes cannot be completely ruled out, especially considering the scale of production and the constant need for testing and calibration within the minting process. And when such experimental pieces escape into circulation, they become some of the most prized items in the world of coin collecting because they were never meant to be released to the public, and their rarity is often unmatched, and condition plays an equally important role in determining the value of any coin, because even the rarest error will lose some of its appeal if it is heavily worn or damaged. Whereas a coin that has been preserved in near perfect condition with sharp details, original luster, and no signs of circulation can command an extraordinary premium. And when you combine a rare error with a high-grade condition, you create a coin that is not just rare but also visually stunning, making it a centerpiece for any collection and a target for serious investors. And speaking of investors, the world of rare coins has evolved far beyond a simple hobby into a sophisticated market where collectors, dealers, and wealthy individuals compete to acquire the rarest and most unique pieces. And in this environment, a coin like the 1996 nickel with a truly one-of-a-kind error could easily attract intense bidding and reach astronomical prices, especially if it gains media attention or becomes part of a well-known collection. And the idea of a $77 million valuation may sound unbelievable, but history has shown that rare collectibles can achieve extraordinary prices when the right combination of rarity, demand, and storytelling comes together, and the story behind a coin is often just as important as the coin itself because it adds a layer of intrigue and emotional connection that drives collectors to pursue it with passion. And in the case of the 1996 nickel, the mystery surrounding its potential errors and the possibility that undiscovered examples may still be out there creates a sense of excitement that keeps people searching. And this is what makes coin collecting so unique compared to other forms of collecting, because it offers the thrill of discovery, the possibility of finding something valuable in the most unexpected places, and the satisfaction of uncovering a piece of history that has been hiding in plain sight. And for those who are inspired by this story, it is worth taking a closer look at your own coins, because you never know what you might find. Start by examining the date and mint mark on your nickels. Look closely at the lettering and design for any signs of doubling or distortion. Check the edges and surface for unusual features. And if something looks different or out of place, do not ignore it, because it could be the clue that leads to an incredible discovery. And if you believe you have found something special, the next step is to have it evaluated by a professional grading service or an experienced coin dealer who can verify its authenticity and provide an assessment of its value. And while the chances of finding a multi-million-dollar coin are extremely rare, they are not impossible, and that is what keeps collectors motivated and engaged. And beyond the financial aspect, there is also a deeper appreciation for the craftsmanship and history behind each coin, because every piece tells a story about the time and place in which it was created, and even a small error can reveal something about the minting process, the technology used, and the people involved. And in this way, coins become more than just currency. They become artifacts that connect us to the past and remind us of the complexity and beauty of even the most ordinary objects. And as we continue to explore the fascinating world of rare coins, it becomes clear that value is not always determined by size or material, but by uniqueness, rarity, and the stories that capture our imagination. And the 1996 5-cent coin is a perfect example of this, because it shows how something so small and seemingly insignificant can become a symbol of incredible wealth and mystery. And as you go about your day, keep in mind that the next time you receive change or come across an old coin, you might be holding something far more valuable than you realize. So take a moment to look closely, to appreciate the details, and to consider the possibilities, because hidden treasures are often closer than we think. And with that said, keep searching, keep learning, and keep exploring, because the world of coins is full of surprises, and the next great discovery could be waiting for you right now. Last 2003 5-cent coin. Today we are diving into yet another unbelievable story that proves how an ordinary coin can turn into an extraordinary fortune. And this time the spotlight is on the mysterious 2003 5 cent coin. A simple nickel that many people would overlook without a second thought, but which has sparked intense fascination among collectors due to the possibility that certain rare examples could be worth an astonishing $73 million. And if that sounds impossible, just wait, because once you understand the combination of minting errors, production anomalies, and rare circumstances that can transform a coin like this into a collector's dream, you will never look at your spare change the same way again. Because the truth is that coins are not always as perfect as they appear, and the minting process, while highly advanced, is still capable of producing mistakes. And it is these mistakes that open the door to incredible value. Now, to fully appreciate why the 2003 nickel has captured so much attention, we need to take a closer look at how coins are created and where things can go wrong. Every nickel begins as a planchet made from a copper-nickel alloy, carefully prepared to meet strict specifications in weight, thickness, and composition, and these planchets are then fed into high-speed presses where dies strike the design onto the surface with immense pressure. But when even the smallest error occurs during this process, the result can be a coin that is dramatically different from the standard version, and these differences are what collectors look for because they represent something rare and unexpected. And one of the most exciting possibilities for the 2003 5 cent coin is the presence of a double die error, a phenomenon that occurs when the die used to strike the coin is improperly aligned during its creation, causing certain elements of the design such as the date, lettering, or even the portrait to appear doubled. And while minor doubling can sometimes be difficult to spot, strong double die examples are highly prized and can significantly increase the value of a coin, especially when they are discovered in high-grade condition. And another major factor that could contribute to the extraordinary value of this coin is the possibility of an off-center strike, where the planchet was not properly aligned within the press, resulting in a design that is shifted to one side. And while off-center errors are not extremely rare in general, finding a dramatic example with a clear date and mint mark from a specific year like 2003 can make it highly desirable, particularly if the coin is well preserved and visually striking. And then there is the fascinating possibility of a wrong planchet error, which is considered one of the most valuable types of minting mistakes. This occurs when a coin is struck on a planchet intended for a different denomination or even a different metal composition. For example, a 2003 nickel struck on a planchet meant for a dime or a penny would immediately stand out due to its unusual size, weight, or color. And such an error would be incredibly rare because the mint has strict quality control measures in place to prevent these kinds of mistakes. But when they do happen and escape into circulation, they become some of the most sought-after coins in the world. And collectors are willing to pay enormous sums for these unique pieces because they cannot be easily replicated. And beyond these major errors, there are also other types of anomalies that can add value to a coin, such as die cracks, die breaks, and cuts, which occur when the die becomes damaged or worn over time, leaving raised lines or irregular shapes on the coin's surface. And while small die cracks might not attract much attention, large and dramatic die breaks can make a coin stand out and increase its appeal to collectors. And another intriguing possibility is the existence of a transitional error, where the mint may have used a design, composition, or die intended for a different year. And although the early 2000s did not see a major design change for the nickel, the possibility of experimental strikes or test pieces cannot be completely ruled out, especially given the complexity of mint operations and the need for ongoing testing and calibration. And if such a piece were to be discovered, it could easily become one of the most valuable coins ever known. And when we talk about a potential value of $73 million, it is important to understand that this figure represents the extreme upper end of what a truly unique and historically significant coin could achieve in the right circumstances. Because value in the world of rare coins is driven by rarity, demand, and the story behind the piece. And when a coin checks all of these boxes, it can attract intense interest from wealthy collectors and investors who are willing to pay extraordinary prices to own something truly one of a kind. And condition also plays a crucial role in determining value, because coins that are in mint state condition with sharp details and original luster are far more desirable than those that show signs of wear And when a rare error is found in pristine condition, it becomes even more valuable because it represents the best possible example of that error. And this is why professional grading services are so important, because they authenticate coins and assign them a grade based on their condition, providing confidence to buyers and helping to establish their value in the market. And a 2003 P nickel with a significant error that has been certified and graded at the highest levels could easily become the centerpiece of a major collection and attract global attention. And beyond the technical and financial aspects, there is also a sense of mystery and excitement that surrounds coins like this, because the idea that such a valuable item could be hidden in everyday circulation captures the imagination and inspires people to start looking more closely at their coins. And this is one of the reasons why coin collecting continues to be such a popular and rewarding hobby, because it combines the thrill of discovery with the opportunity to learn about history, art, and craftsmanship. And for those who are inspired by this story, the best place to start is by examining your own coins. Take a close look at any 2003 P nickels you might have and pay attention to details such as the alignment of the design, the clarity of the lettering, and any unusual marks or features that stand out. And if you notice something that looks different, do not ignore it, because it could be the clue that leads to an incredible find. And if you believe you have discovered a rare error, the next step is to have it evaluated by a professional who can determine its authenticity and potential value. And while the chances of finding a multi-million-dollar coin are extremely small, they are not zero. And that is what makes this pursuit so exciting, because it offers the possibility of turning something ordinary into something extraordinary. And as we continue to explore the fascinating world of rare coins, it becomes clear that value is not always about the material or face value of an object, but about its uniqueness, rarity, and the story it tells. And the 2003 P5 cent coin is a perfect example of this, because it shows how a simple piece of metal can become a symbol of mystery, history, and incredible wealth. And as you go about your day, remember to keep an eye on your spare change, because you never know when you might come across a hidden treasure. And with that said, keep searching, keep learning, and keep exploring, because the world of coins is full of surprises, and the next great discovery could be waiting for you right now.